Let's talk about re-engineering or business process re-engineering or BPR. Now, this is also connected with the discussion on OS or organization structure. Now, generally, we follow the hierarchy, that is the pyramid structure, which we have adopted from the military, the soldiers at the bottom and the general at the top. Organizations also have this hierarchical structure, some sort of a pyramidal structure. Now, there are problems with the pyramidal structure. If it is a very tall pyramid with too many layers between the soldiers and the general or the junior executives and the top management, many executives and officers and managers and middle managers and so on and so forth, then communication becomes very slow, because generally communication is supposed to be upward or downward. Information is passed from bottom to top and instructions are passed from top to bottom. And because of these several layers, what could happen is that there is some distortion happening, there is some misunderstanding, the message is not going properly, there is some twisting, there is some distortion. It may be intended, it may be unintended, deliberate, whatever. So both ways the flow is not proper, it is not conveyed exactly. There is some transmission and distribution loss, so to speak. There is communication distortion, communication loss and all that. Plus it also slows down decision making, because the process is like this. So decisions are slow, information is slow, communication takes time to percolate from top to bottom, information takes time to go from bottom to top. Sometimes middle management deliberately suppresses some information, top management doesn't know what is going on, bottom doesn't know what the top wants, middle management can play a role in suppressing from the flow from both the sides or twisting it from both the sides. So this was a problem, and this has been a problem. So there have been some propositions to change this, like Henri Fayol, the one of the pioneers in management thinking, who wrote about principles of administration and management, proposed a solution as to how to solve this communication problem, which is generally upward and downward. For example, this is your normal communication pattern in a company. If F wants to talk to P, he has to go through proper channels, as we say, come through proper channels, a very popular government term. So G goes to F goes to E, then D, then C, then B, then A, who is at the top. Then A passes it down to L, M, N, O, and P. So it goes through so many levels. F has to talk to P, but he doesn't do it directly because of the hierarchical process or the focus or preference for upward and downward and proper channels. So F cannot talk to P. He goes through these top levels and then from top to bottom again. So this is a very long time consuming process. Again, there'll be distortion and all that. So Fayol said, let's drop a gangplank from F to P. Directly F can talk to P. Allow F to talk to P, as if there is a gangplank and F can simply walk across that plank and talk to P. So don't use the upward downward model all the time. Use this model also. Of course, you can maybe F and P can be in the same department. They can be in different departments also. Anyway, doing it too often would also be difficult, because you have to maintain the hierarchy. You can't, everybody talking all the time like this also is a problem. You have to keep the other layers in the loop also. So of course there are many such issues possible, but this was one of the ideas that he proposed. There was also another idea called MBWA, management by walking around or management by walking about, which was proposed by the founders of Hewlett-Packard, HP company, a company well known for computer and IT hardware and printers and all that. And they said that the CEO or the bosses should not sit in their corner room or corner office or AC cabins or in their ivory towers, should move around, go to the grassroots, go to where the action is actually happening, go to the field, go to the factory floor, where the product is being made or there is interaction at the operational level. Otherwise, they won't get any information sitting somewhere else on the top floor or something. So top level bosses should go there, but that is just to simply to touch base, in the sense that they should go and see for themselves what is happening. Maybe they can interact with the junior level people, but just to see, to understand and to listen, not to give direct instructions. If the CEO himself goes to the floor and starts giving instructions to a worker, then worker will never listen to the middle manager. He will say, I'll talk only to the CEO. So then you can't bypass the middle level like that. Then the middle level has no role to play. So they said that you shouldn't bypass the middle level, but you can sometimes check it out for yourself, that you get a sense of what is actually happening. You go to the operational level guys, you talk to them, so you understand that they have understood you, you understand them, and you receive some information from them. So to check out that things are going smoothly, to sort of conduct some sort of a communication audit, that they actually understand you, they understood your instructions, or you are receiving correct information. Not to bypass or sabotage the authority of the middle management. That is very crucial. So they kind of see for themselves, get a feel for themselves at the grassroots level, go on the ground actually. So this was also another approach proposed. And then, but again, as the problem was that when things are changing rapidly, there is competition, there is aggressive competition, customers' tastes and preferences are changing, government policies may be changing in a rapidly changing world. Organizations and big organizations with tall hierarchies need to take decisions fast, need to move fast, need to innovate fast, need to do everything fast. Speed is of the essence. Communication has to be fast, information has to be fast, experimentation has to be fast, products have to be developed quickly. You can't waste time. Unnecessary time should not be wasted. So this structure was a bit of an issue, the hierarchical, tall hierarchy, pyramidal structure. So Hammer and Champy wrote a book called Reengineering the Corporation to American authors. And they laid out an approach called business process reengineering, or BPR, which is known as reengineering. And the idea was to look at the business processes that are happening in the company and radically and drastically change those processes, not just minor changes, major changes, to achieve major improvements, not just minor improvements. And the idea was to keep the focus on the customer, not the boss or the CEO. You are working in a company, you are focused on your boss, but your focus has to be on the customer, because ultimately without the customer you don't survive. You have to be focused on your customer, satisfying the customer needs, consumer focus, giving him the product or service and all that. So customer should be your focus. Customer orientation should be there. Not looking upward, but looking at the customer, kind of. So they said that we have to deliver value quicker to the customer, the best value to the customer, and that is what the organization is for, to satisfy the needs of the customer and to give him service and to cater to him in the best possible manner and provide value. You have input, you are processing it, and then you are providing final output to the customer, the product or the service. And you are using this box or the pyramid. Input goes in, output comes out. So they said the focus has to be on the customer, majorly. There has to be a major focus on the customer. And with that in mind, look at all the things that we are doing. And ask. Rudyard Kipling said, what, where, when, why, how, and who. These 6 questions are the best friends that we have. So ask fundamental questions. Like, if we are doing something, what is this exactly that we are doing? Why are we doing it? Is it necessary? Is it necessary to do this? How are we doing it? Can we do it differently? And look at a process, look at something that we are doing, fundamentally examine it, and make major changes, get rid of it, or do it something entirely different if required to get the best possible outcome. And while doing that, you have to think with a completely fresh mind, fresh perspective. Forget about legacy or history. You do things because that is the tradition. You've been doing it because this is how it started, then this was done, then this was done. We are doing it because that is how we have always been doing it. There are historical reasons. So there's a forget about past reasons and historical reasons. Let us look at current situation with a fresh set of eyes. Look at all the resources that we have available now, all the information and knowledge that we have available now. In the past, things were different, resources were different, reasons were different, information was different, technology was different. Today we have different sets of technologies and tools and information technology and whatnot and computers. Use all that and see if we need to make drastic changes to give drastic improvements. So that is a zero based approach. Zero based is start afresh. Like in budgeting, they call it zero based budgeting. Generally, what you do in budgeting is that you take last year's budget or last year's target and then say maybe add 10% or 15% or 20%. So you basically go on incremental changes in this budgeting or target setting exercises. In a zero based budgeting, you say forget about what we did last year or prior to that and all that. Just look at this year and see what is the best possible budget or target that we can make, looking to the whatever information we have and whatever can be done and all that. So this is a zero based approach, which is a drastic and radical approach that they proposed. Not small steps or incremental changes or gradual improvement. Drastic improvement to give drastic results. Change in basic processes, fundamental changes in basic business processes to give best value to the customer in the shortest possible time. So that is what is known as re-engineering. And to re-engineer, you ask those fundamental questions and look at all this process basically, and to try to get best outcome. So then they talked of things like delayering or flattening the hierarchy or the pyramid. Make the pyramid shorter. Why do we have so many layers of management? Too much middle management. Do we actually need all those layers like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all that we have saw in the example earlier? Do we really need so many levels of middle management, which is going to slow down things? So make the pyramid shorter. So flatten the pyramid, kind of make it not tall but short. Delayer, remove those unnecessary layers of management. Some middle management would be there, but extra layers, get rid of them. So you're cutting flab, you are getting rid of unnecessary manpower also, you are becoming faster, leaner, meaner and more efficient. Sometimes they also told, this was also termed as inverting the pyramid or going from vertical to horizontal. Like there is a pyramid and you are all looking to the boss as if he's the god, but now you are like kind of, pyramid is like this and the customer is the boss. But that is just a metaphor, so to speak. You can't actually invert the pyramid or make it horizontal. The pyramid still stays. But the point is that you are trying to shorten the pyramid and the focus is less vertical, more horizontal, in the sense that the focus is everybody has to be focused on the customer. And whatever we are doing, does it make sense to the customer? And because ultimately the goal is to satisfy the customer. That is why we exist, to provide products and services to cater to the needs of the customers and then make money in that process. So this is what re-engineering did. Sometimes it is said horizontal to vertical, inverting the pyramid. These are just dramatic terms. Essentially the pyramid stays. It is not possible to completely remove some sort of a hierarchy. The hierarchy, some sort of command and control, some supervision, something of that sort cannot be done away with. But you can have a smaller pyramid, a shorter pyramid, and stuff like that. So this is what business process re-engineering or re-engineering is all about. It's more of an American approach of making drastic and radical changes rather than the Japanese approach of Kaizen or making improvement in smaller steps. and it also looks at the organization structure and making changes in the structure, as well as the processes or the things that we do while doing the activities of the organization, and focusing on the customer. So this is what BPR is all about, and that is one of the important concepts in organization structure, organization design, and also a part of organizational behavior. Thank you.